congratulate all of the nominees today, to you and to your families, friends, and supporters who are here either in person or watching. I am proud of the record of this committee and what we've done this Congress to ensure that we move forward with the confirmation of the highly qualified nominees who've been advanced by President Biden. And I'm proud of President Biden's attention to nominating qualified, outstanding candidates for the federal bench of both diverse personal and professional backgrounds. So, Mr. Garcia, if I might, we've heard discussion, even some criticism today about positions you may have advocated for in your legal career that some of my colleagues may consider either too progressive or too liberal. As an attorney in private practice, have you had to take positions on occasion on behalf of clients that may or may not have aligned with your personal views or values?
Senator, absolutely. The job of an advocate is to generate the best possible arguments on behalf of your client, and that's what I did in each and every case.
So how did the experience of working on matters you may not have agreed with actually arguably help prepare you for the role of a federal judge?
Thank you, Senator. I do think that it has, because one commonality between the role of an advocate or a judge, although they are very different roles, is that your personal beliefs simply play no part in the work that you should be doing. And I have great respect for the fact that judges take an oath to impartially apply the law, and that is an essential part of our Constitution's scheme of separation of powers and the rule of law.
Well, Mr. Garcia, I've been struck by some of the letters that this committee received. You clerked, as you've described before, for a judge, Judge Griffith, very well regarded as a conservative legal mind appointed by President George W. Bush to the D.C. Circuit. Judge Griffith wrote to this committee in enthusiastic support of your nomination. And if I might, I'll just briefly read a couple of sections of this. Despite differing views on important matters, he writes, Brad worked well with all the other clerks, modeled for all of us the value of listening carefully and respectfully to the views of others. He went on, Brad knew I'm a judicial conservative. He played his role of helping me be that type of judge regardless of his own personal views. Brad's integrity in this regard, coupled with his brilliance, gave me complete confidence in his work. Many have written about the polarization, the political polarization that besets our nation. The judiciary can be a model for how to approach divisive issues in a civil and respectful manner. Please reflect, if you would, for a moment on your experience clerking for Judge Griffith and whether you think you could also model that approach. I happened to clerk on the Third Circuit for a judge whose political affiliation was different from mine, but who was a tremendous model of reasoning and of balance, and who intentionally chose clerks so that there was a range of training and background and views. And I think in our view, it produced better and more thorough and better reasoned input for our judge to make her decisions.
Thank you, Senator. It was certainly a tremendous experience to clerk for Judge Griffith, and I'm so grateful for his support. I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you've said. I think it's fair to say that the 4 clerks in Judge Griffith's chambers that year were all from very different backgrounds and perspectives, and I shared your experience of thinking that maybe the best way to learn and to sharpen your thinking is to engage carefully and listen to those who might disagree with you. And both Judge Griffith and Justice Kagan, for me, are great models of that. And I would very much hope to bring those traits, which I think have helped make me successful throughout my career, to the bench if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed.
Mr. Chairman, I've got several, if they haven't already been submitted for the record, I'd ask unanimous consent. But I just wanted to briefly reference one last letter that was striking to me, because clerking for the Supreme Court is a very intense experience. It's an opportunity to get to know other legal minds. You clerked for Justice Kagan, but we received a letter of support for you signed by law clerks from Justices Scalia and Thomas to Ginsburg and Kagan. And the text of that is clear. It says, we speak, and I quote, with one voice supporting Mr. Garcia's nomination to the D.C. Circuit. We do so because we know your intellect, temperament, and experience, and know you to be eminently qualified. I just thought, Mr. Chairman, it was important to add some of this to the record. Might I ask one last question of Judge Douglas, or should I respect the imminent end of time?
Proceed as you wish.
time on this committee, I mean, not time itself. If I might, Judge Douglas, you've spoken about how your interest in public service began with your family's commitment to law enforcement. You have an uncle who was superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, I think the first black superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, an uncle, an agent for the DEA. Your mother worked for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. Could you just briefly share with us how your life, your career, your approach to judging has been impacted by having close family ties to public service and to the law?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. Certainly, my family has impacted the way I have sort of visualized myself in various career disciplines or what have you. I kind of knew that law enforcement might not be the thing for me, per se. I joke a little bit that I couldn't see myself in high heels with a gun around my belt, so I decided to go a different path. And so here I am. I winded up practicing law instead. I have enjoyed the practice that I've had in law. I was able to represent a number of different clients individually and corporations, nonprofits, in varying degrees of disciplines, be it intellectual property, commercial litigation, as well as some energy litigation. I think that my family's background in law enforcement has certainly helped to inform at least my exposure to criminal law, since I practiced primarily in civil law and as a commercial litigator. I was able to at least speak the language once I came onto the bench and was faced as a United States magistrate judge and doing first appearances and rearrangements and things of that nature.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Judge Douglas. Mr. Garcia, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your forbearance.
Thank you.